Welcome back. Today, we join one woman as she transforms raw forest timber into an elevated survival shelter, working entirely by hand over a 30-day build. The foundation of any lasting timber frame is dimensional accuracy. Hand planing these rough beams removes the irregular, weathered outer layer. This exposes the dense heartwood beneath, ensuring the structural joints will sit flush and hold weight without shifting over time. A stilt foundation lifts the living space above ground moisture and seasonal runoff, but an elevated floor requires precise decking to prevent lateral sway. Using a crosscut handsaw severs the wood fibers cleanly across the grain. This prevents the structural planks from splintering under live loads once installed. The initial decking boards dictate the squareness of the entire floor plan. Laying them out before fastening allows the builder to account for natural bowing in the timber. Wood moves as it dries, and anticipating that warp is essential. Driving nails deep into the joists anchors the boards securely. Each driven fastener creates immense friction against the surrounding wood fibers, locking the entire deck into a single, rigid diaphragm. This continuous surface transfers structural tension evenly across the undercarriage. Preparing the final edge pieces requires strict measurement. Even a minor discrepancy at the perimeter can compromise the exterior wall plating later. With the platform stabilized, vertical construction begins. Installing flush wall panels provides the primary defense against wind shear. A tight exterior seam certainly prevents drafts, but more importantly, it stops ambient moisture from penetrating the interior envelope. Securing these planks directly to the load-bearing studs unifies the roof and floor assemblies. Trimming planks in place ensures a perfect fit against the existing rafters. When timber is cut to fit rather than cut to measure, the tolerances remain exceptionally tight. Driving nails into the upper framing locks the wall plate. A well-fastened upper joint prevents the vertical walls from racking during heavy storms. Moving to the exterior, heavy uprights are needed to define the open deck space. Anchoring a vertical post into the rim joist demands precise alignment. If this pillar sits even slightly out of plumb, the attached railing will magnify the error across its entire horizontal span. Gravity is unforgiving to angled loads. Nailing a top rail caps the vertical supports, instantly turning independent posts into a connected structural truss. The continuous horizontal span resists outward pressure. Driving fasteners from the inside out protects the nail heads from direct weather exposure, delaying rust and extending the life of the connection. A completed railing transforms an exposed ledge into a secure, usable workspace. Every additional nail reinforces the perimeter against accidental impacts. The structural integrity here is not just about aesthetics. It is about creating a reliable boundary at elevation. As daylight fades, closing off the interior walls becomes the priority. Fitting vertical slats creates a solid thermal barrier against the cooling night air. Nailing the upper course flush to the rafters seals the gaps where heat escapes and insects enter. By dusk, the framing phase reaches a critical milestone. The open pavilion is now a defined shelter, holding its ground against the descending mountain mist. The following morning begins with groundworks. Slicing into the heavy clay-rich earth establishes a level landing pad for the entry stairs. Soft, sloped soil is a liability for any access point. A flattened terrace ensures the ladder's weight transfers straight down into compacted earth, preventing dangerous slippage. Assembling the ladder frame flat on the ground guarantees the side rails remain perfectly parallel. Cross-bracing the steps provides essential rigidity, distributing foot traffic across multiple axes. Driving heavy fasteners through the joints binds the stringers and treads tightly. In an off-grid build, the access point absorbs more daily wear than almost any other component. Hoisting the rigid frame into place bridges the gap between the soil and the sanctuary. Setting the base on a wide wooden plank acts as a load-spreading footer. This prevents the ladder legs from sinking deep into the mud during heavy rains. Hammering the upper stringers directly into the floor, Joists locks the access route in place. With the primary structures set, focus shifts to refining the envelope. Sweeping away the accumulated sawdust reveals the true surface of the completed floor plan. Wood dust traps ambient moisture and promotes fungal rot if left unattended in humid climates. Clearing the debris is necessary maintenance before any protective coatings can be applied. Every offcut is removed to keep the immediate perimeter clear of hazards. Adjusting the palm leaf thatch ensures water sheds effectively off the roofline, directing rainfall well away from the wooden exterior walls. Inside, cutting and fitting narrow trim pieces along the floor edge acts as a solid baseboard. This tightly seals the crucial junction between the vertical walls and the horizontal deck. Blocking these tiny, irregular seams stops drafts and prevents crawling insects from entering the living space. A flush trim makes the entire room structurally airtight. A solid door is the final physical barrier between the interior and the wilderness. Laying out the vertical planks is straightforward, but fixing a heavy diagonal brace across the back is critical engineering. The cross brace translates the downward-thoughted, sagging weight of the outer edge back to the lower hinge. Without this diagonal tension, a heavy wooden door will warp and drag against the floor within weeks. Metal hinges provide the mechanical swing, but they require exact alignment to function without binding, hammering the hinge plates. Securely into the door frame anchors the swinging mass directly to the load-bearing studs. A smooth closure on the first test is the mark of a perfectly square frame. The satisfying thud of the door shutting signals that the envelope is officially sealed. trimming the upper fascia under the eaves, closes off the last remaining gaps in the roof assembly. Elevated work demands precision, as cutting pieces on the ground and carrying them up requires high confidence in the measurements. Nailing these final wooden planks blocks wind-driven rain from penetrating the rafters overhead. The structure is now visually and functionally whole. Raw wood left exposed to heavy humidity and intense sunlight degrades quickly. Applying a deep yellow stain provides more than just a vibrant aesthetic. The compound acts as a penetrating sealer, sinking deeply into the open pores of the timber. This chemical barrier repels moisture, prevents UV bleaching, and hardens the exterior surface against the elements. Switching to a smaller tool for the door frames and railings ensures the coating reaches every tight corner. Water naturally pools in right angles, making these small crevices highly vulnerable to structural rot. Thorough saturation with the stain guarantees that the most exposed joints will endure seasons of harsh weather. The barrier is complete. The work of a self-sustaining life is entirely cyclical. Even as one massive project reaches completion, raw timber is gathered and staged for the next. What was a muddy, empty hillside 30 days ago is now a resilient, operational homestead. In the end, structure, landscape, and daily routine operate as one continuous system. It is a place that produces, protects, and sustains itself. Some things are worth the long road to build.